Hi guys, so welcome to part 3 and the final part of my final design project for my fashion school in Japan. So for the maid inspired look, I already made the skirt in part 1 and the blouse in part 2. And today we're going to be attacking the main item in this design, which is the dress. So yeah, let's start with the video. So for the corset, first I'm just going to sew all of these right sides together and then do the same thing for the lining. So I'll basically put this here, pin it, and then once that's done, I put this side, right sides together, sew it like that, and then I should give something like this. I also added a top stitch over here, and then I'm just gonna do the same thing with the other side. So I put everything right sides together, pin the sides, and sew it. So now I've got the two sides done, and you can see the inside looks like this. And now I just have to put the back like this, and then it'll give you the corset top. Ooh, this is looking really cool. I really like it. And look at the back. Ooh, yep, that's France. I'm actually technically half French, so it's like a little homage to my ancestors. Next, I repeated the same thing for the lining, so just sew the bodice pieces together. So here are the corset pieces. Now I'm going to repeat the same thing for the rest of the dress, so I just sew the waistband and ruffle pieces together and do the same thing for the skirt. So I place the right sides together and then sew the sides. And here's the back of the skirt. Next I sewed the front skirt pieces, and here's the skirt. So now that the skirt is done, I also sewed the ruffle pieces together. I'm just going to ruffle all around. So first I'm going to start by hemming the end. Now everything is hemmed. I hemmed it with a double hem. So it starts shorter and then gets longer and longer and longer. It's basically just a super long rectangle. It's about like 4 inches wide. And I'm just gonna add 2 rows of basting stitches along the top here. Then I'm gonna ruffle everything. I have 2 basting stitches, and I did that for each color, alternating whenever it changes. And to make the ruffles, I've done this in almost all of my videos. You take 2 of the strings that are on the same side, and you hold it like this, and then you just gently pull onto the fabric, and it should start ruffling like that. That's how you make ruffles. Now to attach it to the skirt, flip them so that they are right sides together to the skirt, and even out the ruffles as you pin it all along the skirt. And here are the ruffles. Next I'm going to gather the top of the skirt until it fits the waistband. Pretty much have all of the parts sewn. I have the front, the waistband, and the skirt done. There's just one thing I realized is that for the waistband, I actually need to sew in the bow in the seam right over here. So I'll actually need to undo this, make the bow, and then sew the bow into here. I made one part of the bow, so I'm going to show you how to make this. So I basically have this very large rectangle and some lace trim. You'll want this to be a bit longer than the rectangle end. Start by folding the bow in half and sew down the long edge. And and then ruffle the lace and place it inside the bow and sew it. Flip everything inside out and give the edge a top stitch. Last little thing I did was add pleat so that it fits the waistband. Okay, so I seam ripped the waistband, so I have the ribbon. So now I'm just going to put this right sides together like this, and then sandwich it in between the other layer. Then I sew it closed. So it's sandwiched in between the two layers, and I'm basically going to be tying it with it like this, and there'll be a bow in the middle here. Next, I sewed the two waistband pieces together, and then I sandwiched a skirt in between the two waistband layers. And sew that all together. And then just flip everything back to its right side. Next, I'm gonna add the waistband ruffles. So I sewed the edges together to make two skinny rectangles. And then I ruffled them up by sewing some basting stitches. To attach it, place it down, right sides together to the waistband, and sew the edge. So you can see I sewed it to only the outside layer, and flip everything, and here's the finished waistband. So here's the skirt attached to the waistband. It's looking super cute. And the back over here, I have the bow. Something like this. Yeah, I really like it. Now to make the top. Starting with the straps, I start by ruffling up this curved piece. And then I'm going to want to sew it to these strap pieces, so I sandwich it in between the two layers. Flip it and fold in the other edge like this, and top stitch it to finish the straps. I think probably always needing to change the thread colors was the most annoying part of this project. And here's the final strap. Now that all of the top parts are complete, let's assemble everything. So I put the straps in where I want them to be, and then layer the bodice lining right sides together to the bodice, and sew the outer edge. So this is the top. It's looking really cute so far, and I really like the straps as well. I just wish we didn't have to use these colors, because when will I wear this? If I could have chosen, I would have made it like a floral or like a toile de jouy or something more of my aesthetic, but this is the assignment, so can't really change it, but I'm really happy with how it's turning out. Now I just have to sew the top to the waistband and then add some little final touches to the dress. I decided to add some ruffle details to the top. So I sewed those into tiny rectangles and ruffled it in the middle to give these little ruffle trims. And then I just pinned it to the edge of the top and sewed it. I actually ended up changing this to lace after, but the sewing steps are pretty much the same. And now to sew the bodice to the skirt. Start by sewing them wrong sides together to wrong sides, so the lining is touching the inside of the skirt. Pin it and sew. It should give something like this. Fold up the outside waistband layer and top stitch to secure everything in place. Last thing to do is to add the eyelids. So I cut little holes where I want them to be, and then assemble them according to the packaging instructions. And here we go. Just gotta lace everything up. that's pretty much it. The dress is complete. The one last thing I have to make is a little headpiece. Here's a little mock-up I made. I made it too short, so for the real one is gonna be like longer all the way to here. So I have this blue piece, it's gonna go like that. I just have like a long strip of fabric to make the ruffles. And I'm also going to attach some ribbon to the sides like that I can tie it into my hair. Here's a quick little tutorial on how to make it. Start by making the ruffle. We'll sew the end to make a loop and then fold it in half and ruffle it up. Next, take the two headpieces and place the ruffles around the headpiece like this. And then layer the second headpiece on top and sew the edge, leaving a little gap to flip it over. Flipping it was pretty hard because of all the layers and how small it is, but it should give something like this. And then just attach the ribbon by making a small hole on both sides and inserting it. Then finish everything off with a top stitch and it's done. Okay, so this is the headpiece. I designed this with the intention of like braiding the ribbon into my hair, but my hair is kind of short now to do that. So to put it onto my head, I'm basically just going to tie it in the back of my head, just like this. It's looking super cute. I really like it. So I ended up making a few adjustments to the dress, like I added a lot more lace to it to make it more frilly and cute. And same thing for the headband. I added some lace on here and also on the ruffles and added some little bows, which looks super cute. I also made a mask. I put lace on it on the sides as well and a little like, oh, I had these for a while, I'm not sure what they are, but yeah. And to finish it off, I have some gloves. So it is pretty much the final dress. Now I have to go and film it to send it to my teacher. And yeah, I'll bring you guys along and show you the final look. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. So this was my final project for my first year of fashion design in Japan. I am still currently doing my classes online here in Canada, but I will be going to Japan in March. So by the time this video is up, I'll probably be there already. And then I'm starting my second year in April. So subscribe to my channel to see more of my fashion adventures here in Japan, and also for more sewing and DIY fashion tutorials. And I'll see you all in my next video. Bye!